Welcome back to Show Academy. Now we're starting Chapter 2, Organization of the Organism, focused completely on what matters for Paper 2. Quick recall, clear logic, and exactly how questions are asked in the exam. Before we begin, check the video description. You'll find two essential links: a set of flashcards covering all key terms and structures from this chapter, a full set of classified multiple-choice questions from past Paper 2 exams, sorted by topic. Let's get started. We've got 4 topics ahead. The first is animal and plant cells, second is bacterial cells, third is specialized cells, and fourth is the sizes of specimens. Let's begin. Let's begin with the first topic in this chapter, animal and plant cells. This is a classic Paper 2 area. You're expected to know the structure and function of both the animal cell and plant cell, but the most important point to focus on, and where most MCQs come from, is this. What is found in plant cells but not in animal cells? They ask it again and again, just worded differently each time. You might get labeled diagrams, comparison tables, or questions about what a certain structure does, but it all comes back to knowing which parts are shared and which are unique to plant cells. So here's what you need to know, clearly and by heart. Animal and plant cells have some shared structures. Both are eukaryotic cells. That means they have a nucleus that holds genetic material and controls the cell functions. And means also that they have membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria, which is site of aerobic respiration. Both have cell membrane that controls what goes in and out of the cell. And yes, some Paper 2 questions test this as the structure responsible for active transport. Cytoplasm, where chemical reactions happen. Ribosomes, where proteins are made. Now let's talk about what's special in plant cells only, the key list you must know. Plant cell has cell wall, made of cellulose, but animal cell no, it gives the cell rigid support. Plant cell has chloroplasts that contain chlorophyll, but animal cell no, it absorbs light for photosynthesis. Plant cell has permanent large vacuole, filled with cell sap, but animal cell no, it helps keep the cell firm. This is the core difference they test over and over. Make sure it's locked in. Here are some questions. This question asked about the function of the cell membrane and cell wall of a palisade cell. The function of cell membrane is mainly controlling movement of substances in and out, and the main function of cell wall is keeping contents of cell inside and prevent bursting. So the correct answer is B. This is a diagram of palisade mesophyll cell. They ask, which structure is not found in an animal cell? Structure A is a cell membrane. It is present in both cells. Structure B is cytoplasm. It is here and here. Structure C is the nucleus. It is present in all eukaryotes. Structure D is the chloroplast. It is specific for plant cell, and it is the correct answer. Here is the same question, but with a different form. The shaded area of the diagram represents structures found in both plant and animal cells. Which cell structure is from the shaded area? Cell membrane is the only structure shared between the two cells from this list. Here is also the diagram of a palisade mesophyll cell, but now asking about function. In which labeled part does photosynthesis occur, and where is starch stored? Photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast. Why? We all know that. Now, do you know where starch is stored? This starch is temporarily stored inside the chloroplasts as starch grains, especially in mesophyll cells during daylight. So it is the chloroplast again, so the answer is YY, so choose D. Now let's move to topic 2, bacterial cells. This is another Paper 2 favorite, because examiners love testing how well you can compare bacterial cells to animal and plant cells, and whether you know their unique features. So here's the big idea. In a few words, bacteria are unicellular, prokaryotic. Once you see the word prokaryotes, you should say aloud, and with full trust. No nucleus, just free-floating DNA, and no mitochondria. Beside, they also have no chloroplasts. These are the structures this organism lacks. So what do they have? They have cell wall, but not made of cellulose, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and some bacteria may also have plasmids, capsule, flagellum. Knowing these features means you now understand the main criteria of bacteria, and you can easily compare them with either plant or animal cells, or both. If I asked you, what is the difference between bacteria and plant cells? You'll quickly say, bacteria have no nucleus, no mitochondria, no chloroplasts. Their cell wall is present, but not made of cellulose. And if I asked like the past paper question, how is this cell different from a typical animal cell? What's the answer? The absence of a nucleus. Yes, another valid difference is the presence of a cell wall. But why don't we choose that? Simple, because it's not in the options. So always read carefully and choose the best correct answer from the given choices, even if other differences are technically true. Quick recap. Bacteria are unicellular, prokaryotic, and have no nucleus. They may have plasmids, capsule, or flagellum. The absence of a nucleus is the most commonly tested difference, and plasmids are the unique structure found only in bacteria. Don't forget that. Now let's move to topic 3, specialized cells. This topic focuses on how certain cells are adapted to carry out specific functions in the body. You must understand the structure of each specialized cell, what it does, and how its features help it do that job. But before we go into individual cells, there's one foundational idea you must know, and it frequently comes up in exams, both in direct and indirect ways. The difference between cell, tissue, organ, and system. Let's break it down simply. A cell is the basic unit of life, like a red blood cell or a root hair cell. A tissue is a group of similar cells working together to perform a particular function, like muscle tissue or xylem tissue. An organ is a group of different tissues that carry out a function together, like the heart or a leaf. A system is several organs that work together to perform a particular function, like the digestive system or the transport system in plants. So, the way in which organisms are built up can be summarized like this. Cells make up tissues, which make up organs, which make up organ systems, which make up organisms. Now let's go through the specialized cells you need to know. First, ciliated cells. Place, lining the trachea and bronchi of animals. Function, trapping bacteria and moving dust particles out of body. The adaptation done to perform the function is having cilia. Not every cell have cilia. Second, neuron. Place, in the nervous system of animals. Function, conducting electrical impulses. To do that, it is adapted to be long cells, with branched ends and insulated with a fatty sheath. Third, red blood cell. Place, in the blood of mammals. Function, transporting oxygen. To do that, it has no nucleus, allows space for more hemoglobin, biconcave shape, increases surface area, contains hemoglobin to carry oxygen. Fourth, sperm cell. Place, produced in the testes of mammals. Function, the male gamete in sexual reproduction. To do its function, it has flagellum for movement, packed with mitochondria that releases energy for swimming, acrosome that contains enzymes to penetrate the egg, haploid nucleus, half the genetic material. Fifth, egg cell. Place, produced in the ovaries of mammals. Function, the female gamete in reproduction. To do this function, it is adapted to be large and round, contains nutrients for the embryo, has a haploid nucleus, half the genetic material. Membrane changes after fertilization to block other sperm, regarding specialized cells in plants. First is root hair cell. Place, near the tips of the roots of flowering plants. Function, to absorb water and mineral ions. To do this, it has long extension, increases surface area for absorption. Thin wall, helps water move in easily. Second is palisade mesophyll cell. Place, in the leaves of flowering plants. Function, photosynthesis. It is packed with chloroplasts to do this function. Third is xylem vessel. Place, in the stems, roots, and leaves of flowering plants. Function, transporting water and mineral ions from roots to the rest of the plant. To do its function, it is made of dead cells, forms a hollow tube, lignin in walls, strong and waterproof, has no contents, allows water to move freely. Now let's see some past paper questions about tissue and organs and so on. You will find a lot of examples. It is a repetitive topic. Here is a diagram that shows some of the structures found in the human abdomen. X and Y. What types of structures? It is clear that X is the kidney and Y is the urinary bladder. Both are organs, so the answer is A. Another question asked, why is the epidermis of a leaf an example of a tissue? This is a definition. Definitely because the cells all have a similar structure and function. Here is a diagram of a male gamete. Which term describes the level of organization of this gamete? Of course, it is a cell. Another question. Which description of xylem is correct? Xylem is what? Xylem is a tissue. It is the only correct option here, number B. So you must know the level of organization and understand it very deep. Regarding specialized cells, questions may come as follows. Which structures contain a cell nucleus? There are 3 cells. Red blood cells. We all know that it has no nucleus. Root hair cells. It has a nucleus. Xylem vessels, made of dead cells, hollow, with no nucleus. So the answer is C. Another question. Very simple. Which cell moves dust particles out of the body? It is the ciliated cells, of course. Here he asked about one specialized cell cut in half. The question asks, what does this diagram indicate about the structure of this cell? It is clear that this is a red blood cell and it is concave on each side. Here another diagram shows a specialized cell and asks, for which function is the cell adapted? It is a root hair cell, and it is adapted for absorption. Questions are like that, simple and clear. Let's wrap up this part with a quick recap. A specialized cell has a structure adapted to its function. You must know the difference between cell, tissue, organ, and system. Each specialized cell has features that match exactly what it needs to do. Now we've reached the last part of Chapter 2. Sizes of specimens. This is a very repeated topic in Paper 2. You'll almost always get one question asking you to calculate magnification, actual size, or image size. And it usually comes in this exact form. They give you 2 measurements, like the length of the image, the actual length of the specimen, and they ask, what is the magnification? Or sometimes they give the magnification and 1 measurement, and ask you to work out the missing one. So first, what's the formula? Magnification equals image size divided by actual size. Just remember, always use the same units. Convert millimeters to micrometers or vice versa if needed. Don't forget, millimeters times 1,000 equals micrometers. Let's look at a common exam example. The length of a specimen in a photograph is 45 millimeters. Its actual length is 25 millimeters. What is the magnification? Apply the formula. Magnification equals 45 divided by 25 equals 1.8. The correct answer is C. Now another classic type. A diagram of a fly shows a line XY across the wing. Line XY is 26 millimeters. The actual size between XY is 4 millimeters. What's the magnification? Again, magnification equals 26 divided by 4 equals 6.5. So the correct answer is B. You see? The question style is the same. Just different numbers or organisms. It could be a photograph of a cell, a diagram of a wing, or even a line drawn on a micrograph. But the rule never changes. Quick recap. To score this mark every time, remember, use the formula, magnification equals image size divided by actual size. Always check the units, convert if needed. Round your answer only if required. This topic is repeated in exams, so master the method. And that's the end of Chapter 2, Organization of the Organism, fully covered from the Paper 2 point of view. We didn't just memorize, we understood how the exam thinks. From cell structures to specialized cells, to the difference between cell, tissue, organ, and system, all the way to calculating magnification, which comes up again and again. All of this comes back in MCQs, so go over it as many times as you need. In the description below, don't miss your tools. a link to flashcards with every keyword and structure from this chapter, and a quiz of classified past multiple choice questions for Chapter 2. Go practice, go apply, go master it, and if you're ready for more, hit subscribe, join the next chapter, and don't forget to check out the Take 4 challenge questions waiting in the comments.